Welcome to a public hearing regarding the NINDS Office of Neuroscience Communications and Engagement Notice of Proposed Reorganization. My name is Amy Adams. I am the Director of the Office of Scientific Liaison, and with me today is
Melissa Gallagher, and I am the Director of the Office of Communications and Public Liaison.
So as we go to the first slide, I want to just present a few ground rules for today's public hearing. I want you to be aware that all phones will be muted during the presentation, but they will be opened immediately following the presentation to allow for public questions and comments. And we look forward to hearing from you after this presentation. The purpose of today's public hearing is threefold. The Public Health Service Act requires public hearings for organizational changes of program components and some key outward-facing organizations within NIH. These public hearings are required for extensive changes to program components which may impact on any organization that interface with the public. A public hearing summary will be submitted as part of the official organization package. This package will include any changes to the proposed organizational change as a result of the hearings. I also want to remind you that at the bottom of each slide during today's presentation is the email box to which you can direct comments, either live during today's public hearing or afterwards if you are reviewing this on a recording. So what we have presented before you now is a chart illustrating the current organization of the NINDS Office of the Director. Under the Office of the Director, there is the Office of Management, the Office of Communications and Public Liaison, the Office of Science Policy and Planning, the Office of Scientific Liaison, and the Office of Pain Policy and Planning. I'm going to turn now to Alyssa Gallagher to talk briefly about the current Office of Communications and Public Liaison.
Okay, thank you very much, Amy. So within OCPL, there are two branches that are responsible for different functional areas within the Communications Office. The first branch is the Scientific Publications and Public Information section, and they are really tasked with vetting the science and distributing it to the public. So they do, the team within that group does a lot of, sort of looks across all the manuscripts that are about to be published that are NINDS funded research. And then they decide what funded research or intramural research to publicize. This group also does a lot of communications planning and coordination that involves message development, talking points, and really how to distribute NINDS's research to the public. There's also a media relations function and the press team. Both of these functions reside in this branch, and those groups are tasked with developing and distributing press releases, pitching stories, and responding to information and interview requests from the media, and coordinating media briefings and radio media tours, amongst other things. This group also does a lot of, does actually all of the Institute's public health campaigns as far as developing them, disseminating them, and evaluating them. We have two big ones, No Stroke and Mind Your Risks, that we're very involved in this particular branch. And then we also have the multimedia component where we do video production and editing and also mobile application development as well. The second branch within OCPL is the Health Education Public Liaison section. And they develop and distribute consumer health information and materials to a wide variety of audiences. They also handle public inquiries for the Institute, so they respond to thousands of requests for information per year based on our research portfolio and our health disorder topics that we cover. And they also manage the exhibits program, so we have booths at major meetings and conferences where we distribute NINDS materials. And finally, social media is currently housed in this section, where staff are responsible for managing and moderating NINDS Enterprise Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube accounts. So that is the Office of Communications and Public Liaison.
Thank you very much. Now I will take a moment to discuss the Office of Scientific Liaison. The Office of Scientific Liaison was founded about 5 years ago with the goal of communicating more directly with the scientific and research community. The office is charged with providing a seamless flow of information connecting NINDS research advances, either from NINDS funded or NINDS conducted research, and sharing that with the research community as well as the broader set of stakeholders of the Institute. The Office of Scientific Liaison manages the 12 public-facing websites associated with NINDS, as well as the internal-facing intranet. And those digital platforms provide a convenient way to disseminate information to a broad set of stakeholders for the Institute. The Office of Scientific Liaison has also been tapped to help coordinate a number of the trans-NIH and trans-government neuroscience initiatives that NINDS is involved in and co-leads. These include the NIH Blueprint for Neuroscience Research and the NIH Brain Initiative. With respect to the NIH Brain Initiative, the Office of Scientific Liaison not only helps to coordinate across the NIH institutes for many of the communication, outreach, and other activities related to the initiative, but we also coordinate between NIH and the other federal and non-federal participants of the U.S. Brain Initiative, and with other international existing or emerging brain initiatives. Finally, within the Office of Scientific Liaison, we oversee the founding and establishment and growth of the neuroethics research program, both for NINDS and for the NIH Brain Initiative, which we co-manage with the National Institute of Mental Health. Looking ahead to our proposed organizational structure, we would take the two existing offices, the Office of Communications and Public Liaison and the Office of Scientific Liaison, and we would combine their function into one new office, the Office of Neuroscience Communications and Engagement. Under the new Office of Neuroscience Communications and Engagement, or ONCE, as we can refer to the office, there are now 5 branches. There's a digital communications branch, a health education and information branch, a media relations branch, a neuroscience content and strategy branch, and a scientific and public engagement branch. The consolidation of NINDS communications functions under one office in the NINDS Office of the Director holds many benefits for many of our stakeholders across NINDS. Currently, the communications functions are located in 2 separate offices, both of which are currently situated under the Office of the Director and report to the NIH Director. By consolidating these 2 communications offices, NINDS will increase the efficiency and harmony of scientific, public, and institute communications. We are confident that this consolidation will support efforts to optimize NIH, as it will foster greater collaboration and sharing of resources across the offices. The reorganization will also ensure that the new office has sufficient resources to lead trans-NIH coordination and staff support of high-level trans-NIH neuroscience research programs, such as the NIH Brain Initiative and the NIH Blueprint, and support robust outreach efforts on behalf of institute and trans-NIH communication priorities, including pain research and the HEAL Initiative. I'm now going to walk you through the functional statement describing the broad set of activities that will be conducted by the Office of Neuroscience Communications and Engagement. I really want to emphasize that the consolidation of these offices in no way diminishes either office's reach or impact, but rather reinforces and expands our ability to support the Institute, its interactions with the public, and our many other critical stakeholders. Once we'll collaborate with NINDS and NIH Neuroscience Institute leadership to lead trans-NIH coordination and staff support of high-level trans-NIH neuroscience research programs, including the NIH Brain Initiative and the NIH Blueprint. The office will manage the operations of the NIH Brain Multi-Council Working Group and the NIH Brain Neuroethics Working Group. The office will direct the development of the neuroethics research program within NINDS and for the NIH Brain Initiative. The office will oversee a comprehensive technology-supported plan and execution of the Institute's communication efforts, including information dissemination regarding its vision, mission, scientific program activities, accomplishments, and discoveries, media relations activities, and internal communications. The office will manage trans-NIH communication planning and related activities on behalf of the NIH Brain Initiative and the NIH Blueprint for Medical Research. It will plan and direct a program of neuroscience education activities concerned with informing the scientific community and the public about neuroscience research and neurological disorders. In coordination with the Office of Science Planning and Policy, Science Policy and Planning, the office will advise Institute management on scientific reporting and communication issues related to research initiatives and accomplishments within the NINDS portfolio and on behalf of the NIH Brain Initiative. The office will serve as the point of coordination with other federal agencies in collecting and disseminating scientific, educational, and informational material related to neurological disorders and neuroscience research. The office will coordinate the public and private websites managed by NINDS, including multiple websites for high-level trans-NIH programs, including the NIH Brain Initiative and the Interagency Pain Research Coordinating Committee. In addition, the office will manage the use of social media tools for these groups. The office will provide liaison with scientific societies, professional organizations, patient organizations, and voluntary agencies on behalf of NINDS and the NIH Brain Initiative. The office will oversee the public liaison and outreach activities on behalf of NINDS and the NIH Brain Initiative, including requesting and receipt of public input related to these activities. And finally, the office will manage the Public Neuroscience Exhibits Program, collaborating with the other 13 NIH institutes, centers, and offices that support neuroscience research as appropriate. Now that you have a sense of the broad scope of the office in its totality, we're going to take a moment and describe to you the activities of the 5 new branches within the office, which will work together to harmoniously and efficiently propel us towards our mission. The first branch I will describe to you today is the Digital Communications Branch. The goal of the Digital Communications Branch is to provide leadership for the NINDS digital presence and to manage technical operations of the NINDS websites, social media outlets, and mobile applications. They will oversee Section 508 compliance to ensure that all digital content is accessible to those who might, for any reason, find it difficult to either see or hear content that we would share across our digital channels. We will strategically disseminate information across all NINDS digital channels, manage NINDS social media platforms and create specific content for each, create graphics for use across NINDS digital platforms, and develop presentations for internal and external use specific to NIH and NINDS initiatives. I'm now going to turn the microphone over to Alyssa Gallagher to describe the functions of the Health, Education, and Information Branch.
Thank you, Amy. The Health, Education, and Information Branch will communicate and serve as the primary public information resource for different audiences, including but not limited to other government agencies, non-governmental agencies, professional societies, individuals, families, and communities. It will ensure that all information about the Institute is communicated accurately and appropriately to any audience. This group will also produce online and print publications, articles, and reports for internal and external audiences, including content research and development, design and layout, review, online and print production, distribution, and translation, respond to all public inquiries, manage the Institute's Information Clearinghouse contract, which includes the call center for inquiries and publications requests, as well as warehousing, manage the Institute's Public Neuroscience Exhibits program and the Trans-NIH exhibit at the Society for Neuroscience meeting, and manage photography, medical illustrations and graphics, and in-house graphics production. For the media relations section, this section will be tasked with managing all facets of media relations, working with reporters to accurately portray NINDS-funded research findings and programs, planning and implementing public health education campaigns, developing written and multimedia materials about NINDS-funded research, providing crisis communications consult to leadership on sensitive topics that garner media or public attention, and managing trans-NIH communication planning and activities on behalf of the NIH Brain Initiative, the NIH Blueprint for Medical Research, and others.
Thank you so much. I'm going to take a moment now and describe the role of the Neuroscience Content and Strategy Group. This branch provides expert information about neuroscience research programs and discoveries. It collaborates with NINDS and NIH Neuroscience Institute leadership to lead trans-NIH coordination and staff support of high-level trans-NIH neuroscience research programs, including the NIH Brain Initiative and the NIH Blueprint. It manages the operations of the NIH Brain Multi-Council Working Group and the NIH Brain Neuroethics Working Group. It manages trans-NIH communication planning and related activities on behalf of trans-NIH neuroscience initiatives, including the NIH Brain Initiative and the NIH Blueprint for Medical Research. It directs the development of the Neuroethics Research Program within NINDS and for the NIH Brain Initiative. And finally, it supports communication planning for NINDS divisions and NINDS internal communications. Finally, the Scientific and Public Engagement Branch will interpret neuroscience research findings for the public, professional, and scientific community. It will convene stakeholders to identify current challenges, establish research priorities, and to build future initiatives through meetings, workshops, forums, and conferences, and so on. It will coordinate communications to the public, professional, and scientific communities through one-pagers, website summaries, presentation slides, etc. It will orchestrate and support neuroscience educational outreach and advocacy through local, national, and international events, talks, and symposia at meetings and conferences, and serve as a resource library. Finally, it will engage in and maintain external partnerships relevant to NINDS and NIH initiatives. So thank you so much. I hope that the description that we have given of the new and expanded role of the Office of Neuroscience Communications and Engagement here at NINDS has been helpful to you. We are eager to take your questions and comments, and I want you to know that phones are now open. As a reminder, please mute your phone if you are not speaking. If you would like to ask a question, we ask that you please state your name and, where applicable, your professional affiliation. If you are watching this on a recording after the live video cast, We ask that you please email comments. The email address is listed there, as it was on the bottom of each slide. And we ask that you please send these comments forward before October 31st, 2019. Again, the email should also include your name and, when applicable, your professional affiliation. NINDS will then respond to your comment by November 7th, 2019. And as I said in the opening, we will incorporate all feedback that we get from this public hearing into a summary, which will be included in our organizational change package. Thank you very much.
The line will remain open until 2 p.m.